Imagine handing your life savings to the most trusted man on Wall Street. A man who was once chairman of the NASDAQ, one of the most powerful stock exchanges on earth. A man whose clients begged to give him their money. Celebrities, billionaires, charities, Holocaust survivors. They all lined up. They all trusted him. And he stole every single cent. $65 billion vanished. The greatest financial crime in the history of the United States, and it was hiding in plain sight for over 30 years. This is the story of Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff didn't start as a villain. He started as a kid from Queens, New York, the son of immigrants, nobody special. In 1960, at just 22 years old, he scraped together $5,000 he'd saved working as a lifeguard and sprinkler installer and founded a small penny stock trading firm, Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities. What happened next was nothing short of remarkable, and that's exactly where the danger begins. Because Madoff was genuinely talented. His legitimate brokerage business helped pioneer the technology that would eventually become the NASDAQ stock market itself. He was innovative, he was sharp, he was respected. By the early 1990s, Bernie Madoff was chairman of NASDAQ. Not a member, not an employee, the chairman. The man who ran one of the most powerful financial institutions on earth. Wealthy investors cultivated friendships with him. Being accepted as a Madoff client wasn't just profitable, it was a status symbol. Not everyone was allowed in, you had to be invited. And that air of exclusivity was the trap. On the 18th and 19th floors of the famous Lipstick Building in Manhattan sat Madoff's legitimate brokerage, a buzzing, reputable operation that the world could see. But one floor below, on the shadowy 17th floor, accessible through a concealed entrance, something else entirely was happening. This is where Madoff ran his investment advisory business, and this is where the lie lived. The scheme itself was almost insultingly simple. Clients handed over their money. Madoff deposited it into a single Chase Manhattan bank account, what investigators later called the 703 account. He never actually traded a single stock, not one. No investments, no sophisticated strategy, no split strike conversion, just a pool of cash sitting in a bank. When clients wanted their returns, he paid them with other clients' money. When they wanted statements, his back office team fabricated them. Fake trades, fake profits, fake account balances printed and mailed with the precision of a real brokerage. All of it fiction. From 1986 to 2008, that one Chase account received over $150 billion in deposits. The balance never rose above $5 billion because the rest was being quietly drained into Madoff's pockets, his family's lifestyle, and back out to clients who wanted withdrawals. The returns were just amazing, and we trusted this guy for decades. If you wanted to take money out, you always got your money. An unnamed Madoff investor. But here's what made Madoff truly lethal, what separated him from every other fraudster in history. He was patient. He didn't promise 50% returns or get-rich-quick fantasies. He offered a steady, modest 10 to 12% year in, year out, no matter what the market did. Bull market, bear market, recession. Madoff's clients always made money. That consistency was precisely what made people believe. They thought they were the smart money, the safe money, the conservative choice. Steven Spielberg invested. Actors Kevin Bacon and Kyra Sedgwick invested. The New York Mets ownership invested. Charitable foundations, pension funds, and international banks, Banco Santander, BNP Paribas, HSBC, all in. Over 4,800 direct clients. Thousands more through feeder funds around the world. Not one of them knew. The most chilling part of this story isn't the fraud itself. It's how many times the world had the chance to stop it and didn't. As early as 1992, whistleblowers had urged the SEC to investigate Madoff's business practices. Investigators visited. They found nothing. They moved on.
In 1999, a financial analyst named Harry Markopolos sat down with Madoff's reported returns and reached a conclusion in less than 4 hours. It was mathematically impossible. The numbers couldn't be real. No strategy could produce those results that consistently across all market conditions. He submitted a detailed complaint to the SEC titled bluntly, "The world's largest hedge fund is a fraud." The SEC reviewed it and did nothing. Over the next several years, Markopolos submitted complaint after complaint. 6 substantive tips reached the SEC between 1992 and 2008. One explicitly warned that he kept his most sensitive records on a personal laptop that never left his body. Another flagged that he was maintaining 2 sets of books. A 2006 complaint alleged he had commingled over $10 billion in client funds. At no point did the SEC ever independently verify a single trade. Major accounting firms, PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, reviewed funds connected to Madoff and raised no red flags. JP Morgan Chase, which held the 703 account, noticed suspicious patterns internally, but never pulled hard enough on the thread. The SEC would later conduct 2 formal investigations and 3 examinations of Madoff's business. They never launched a proper Ponzi scheme probe. SEC officials once again announced that the claims were wrong and that Madoff was not engaged in illegal activities. After Markopolos' 2005 complaint, there was one more twist that made the regulatory failure even startling. Madoff's niece, Shauna, who worked at the firm, had married a former SEC official she met while he was investigating her uncle. The investigator later said it was coincidental, but to many observers, it captured the incestuous closeness between Madoff's world and the people who were supposed to police it. Then 2008 arrived. The global financial crisis hit like a freight train. Lehman Brothers collapsed, Bear Stearns was wiped out, the stock market was in free fall. Panicked investors everywhere scrambled to pull their money out of everything, including Madoff's fund. Between September and December 2008, his clients requested a combined $7 billion in withdrawals. There was only $300 million in the account. Madoff frantically reached out to every contact he had, begging for emergency cash infusions. He called in decades of favors. Clothing entrepreneur Carl Shapiro, a close friend, provided hundreds of millions of dollars. It wasn't enough. The credit markets were frozen. Nobody had money to lend. The world was broke. On December 3, 2008, Madoff pulled aside his longtime associate Frank Dispasali and said 4 words that ended everything. "I'm out of money." To Bernie Madoff to Frank Dispasali, December 3, 2008. He directed Dispasali to use the remaining $234 million in the account to pay favored clients and family members. One last act of cynical loyalty before the curtain fell. On December 10, 2008, Madoff held the firm's annual Christmas party and distributed early bonuses. That same evening, he went home with his 2 sons, Mark and Andrew, both of whom worked at the firm, and confessed to them. The entire investment business, he told them, was one big lie, a giant Ponzi scheme. He had absolutely nothing left. He asked his sons for 1 week to wind things down before turning himself in. The moment they left his apartment, Mark and Andrew called a lawyer. The lawyer called federal prosecutors and the SEC. On December 11, 2008, FBI agents knocked on Bernie Madoff's door at his Manhattan penthouse. "There is no innocent explanation," Madoff reportedly told them. He was arrested before noon. The man who fooled the world for 30 years didn't even fight it.